friends, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to review the 22 dark or taboo romances that I want to read by the end of the year. So the first book that is probably the highest of priorities on this list is Still Beating. This is a captor romance between a woman and her sister's fiance. In the beginning of the book, she gets kidnapped and so does he. This focuses on their trauma bonding, their eventual romance, and the ways that they help each other get through what they have both endured. I have heard fantastic things about this from people that like dark romance, and I'm interested to see how I like this one. We then have Lords of Pain, which is a reverse harem story, and I believe she has an interaction with them in the beginning of the book, and then she returns afterwards. I believe it starts out with an assault from two of the guys. I'm not really sure, but I've heard that it's very dark and it's a fun time, so I'm excited to read that one. Haven't heard too many good things about the sequels, but I would love to give that a shot. We then have Sick Fucks, which I've heard is one of the darkest books people have ever read. It might be trauma porn for the sake of it, but it is about two people kidnapped by, I think it's a group of predators, and there's some like really gruesome shit in here, and then they get revenge on the people that took them captive. A lot of people say it's like really dark and gruesome. We have Untouchable, which is probably the most divisive book that I have on this list. It is about a girl who in the beginning of the book is sexually assaulted by the hero, and this is a trope that, depending on how it is handled, depending on what is done, I can sort of deal with it, but I want to see if this pushes my boundaries or not. I would like to know what the fuss is all about. I've heard that this is not a hero that gets redeemed in any way, or he is not apologetic for what he does, so I'll be interested to see how I feel about it. We then have Deliver, which is part of a pretty long series, and if I remember correctly, this first one is about a guy who gets kidnapped by this previously human trafficked, and she's teaching him how to please people so that she can traffic him as well. The last reads that I would consider dark on this list are a couple of Pepper Winters books, notably Tears of Tess, Pennies, and Destroyed. This is about Tess, who goes on a trip to Mexico with her boyfriend, and she ends up getting captured. As captive and alone with no savior, no lover, no faith, no future, Tess evolves from a terrified girl to a fierce fighter, but no matter her strength, it can't save her from the horror of being sold. Can Brax find Tess before she's broken and ruined, or will Tess's new owner change her life forever? So next up, Pennies is again about another girl who is stolen. Elder Pressed, the only man to look and see me, the only man more ruthless than my owner. He wants me for reasons I don't understand. He claims me for one night, then leaves and never looks back until he returns, and life becomes so much more complicated. And then Destroyed has one of those very vague first-person synopses, but it basically says, I didn't realize how far I could fall or what I'd do to get free. He has a secret. I've never pretended to be good or deserving. I chase who I want, do what I want, act how I want. I don't have time to lust after a woman I have no rights to lust after. One secret destroys them. So again, very vague. I'll be interested to see. I have several books by Pepper Winters on this list because she's a pretty popular dark author, so I'm interested to see how I feel about her writing and her stories, and if you have any other recommendations for her, definitely let me know. If you've read any of these, let me know. So then we get into more of the taboo. So we have The Truth About Heartbreak. This is the first B. Celeste that I have ever read. Well, will be the only one I've ever read. I fell in love with him when I was 13 years old. He was older, mysterious, and unattainable, a guy I could never touch. Then one night changed everything for us, but there was one huge problem. He belonged to her, so he is her brother's best friend, and there is cheating. We have Sweet Dandelion, which I don't know too much about, but I do know it is a student teacher. We have All Things Burn, which sounds taboo-ish. I guess it would be, it would depend on what you call taboo, but it is about a guy who is, I believe, an assassin, and he is charged with killing her, but he ends up like falling for her. So I'm pretty excited. I think it's gonna be like stalking and stuff like that. And then pretty similar to that, I also want to read Private Eye, which is about a guy who is in this like chat room who has like cam girls and stuff, and he's investigating someone that's watching this cam girl, and he ends up falling for her, and I believe they start having like their own private relationship like in the chat room. We have Praise, which I would like to read all of the books in this series. I've heard fantastic things. This is part of a BDSM club series, and it is, the first one is ex-fiance's dad. We have Don't Tell Me No, which is a sapphic about a woman who is sold to a woman because her ex owes money to her or something like that. We have Sin and Discipline. This is about a dedicated musician who would become my mentor, my shadow, my protector, and nightmare. So it sounds very Dark Notes-esque, which I am all here for. I love Dark Notes. Of course, we have Priest, which is a priest romance about a guy who is trying to be a priest, but he falls into carnal urges with a woman. We have Torn, which is a really large age gap. I think he's known her since she was like 6 or something like that. I think it's like her dad's friend. And they have a relationship when she's like 17 or 18. The Good Girl, which I think is again another one where her husband or something owes a debt and she sells herself or gets sold to the hero. We have What Are the Odds, which I have heard is another cheating romance. I don't know, I think it's Brother's Best Friend, something along those lines. We have Ante Up, which I believe is about I think the hero is in the mafia and the heroine is a poker player or something like that. I have heard that this is Christina C. Jones, like more dark romances. She tends to do just like contemporary regular romances, and I've heard this book in particular, but this series is pretty dark or darker. And then we have Fit, which is another book, another BDSM story from Rebecca Witherspoon, but it is a club. So I really like the way that she writes those particular stories, so I'm excited to get to that one as well. Those are the 22 dark/taboo romances on my TBR for the rest of the year. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on anything that I mentioned, what's on your TBR. I would love to know. Other than that, if you don't have anything to say, leave a sunflower emoji, and thanks so much for watching. I will catch you guys in my next one.